Hey, David.
Hey, Kyle. What are you doing down in R&D?
Didn't you just call me down here?
Oh, yes. I remember now. I have something incredibly exciting to show you. Here we are. This is the Collaborative Activity Televisual Binding Interactive Resynchronizing Device. CATBIRD for short.
And this device is going to help teachers with collaborative activities?
Precisely. When a teacher in need calls us for assistance with a new activity, we simply need to activate the CATBIRD, and then the new idea will be teleported from this gadget directly into their brain.
That sounds amazing, but do you think maybe we could have it teleported somewhere else, like their classroom or something?
Well, yes. It wouldn't be quite as efficient, but I suppose it would be less invasive. Let's see, if I make the adjustment to the nanowave pulse frequency within the parallel microfilament. Kyle, can you hold this button in right here while I make this calibration?
Sure, happy to help. David, should this be happening?
Huh. It appears that the CATBIRD is looking for an additional power source and has chosen your arm. Here, let me plug it directly into the station's main generator.
And that's one way that a teacher can use collaborative questions.
I really like that activity, Rachel. I think it'll be...
Here's a teacher who could use some help with creating student groups.
This is a good one for Tara.
Agreed. Transporting her now.
You know, working in mission control is a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm really glad we got the opportunity to give it a try while Spencer and Brian were on vacation.
I think the CATBIRD is draining all of the station's energy.
Quick, unplug it.
That's not good.
Welcome to Launch Your Classroom. I'm Kyle Pope. Within the past several years in education, student-centered learning has become increasingly popular, and rightfully so. Many of us, as former students, can remember classes that relied heavily on traditional lecture. Regardless of how much you may enjoy a content topic, direct instruction can only hold your attention for so long. Now, as teachers, we owe it to our students to invest and engage them in their own learning. There are several ways to accomplish this task, but perhaps the most flexible and effective is through student collaboration. When you intentionally place students into groups with well-planned activities, you open up new avenues of learning. Instead of being given answers, students must work together to determine the correct solution themselves. This process creates a lasting impression that ingrains knowledge far better than rote memorization. In addition, the very nature of small group encourages engagement. Students can feel anonymous in whole class instruction, which makes them reluctant to participate. But the stakes are lowered and more relaxed in a small group setting. Another advantage of students interacting with one another on a task is that they're able to grow real-world social and emotional skills. So today, on Launch Your Classroom, we're going to focus on making the most out of student collaboration activities. Let's begin with our first strategy.
Have you ever noticed how asking yourself a question can help you better understand whatever it is you're puzzling over? How sometimes it will ultimately lead you to the answer? Ever wish you could help your students learn to do this on their own? You can. Collaborative questions are a student-centered method for deepening your students' comprehension during a unit of instruction. Why does it work? How does it work? Have no fear. Let's answer all of your questions about this strategy right now. While the traditional model of teachers asking questions and students responding may seem efficient, it's not the most practical way for your class to gain a complete understanding of your content. This method focuses more on memorization and less on student engagement. Collaborative questions allow students to formulate their own questions about your content. This in turn creates a solid foundation for learning that they can build on for years to come.
Okay, class. After we finish reading this passage, you will each write 3 questions about the material and then get into your groups to share.
With collaborative questions, your students are in the driver's seat. Give them individual time to read, digest the passage, and create 3 thoughtful questions about what they've learned. If you'd like to guide your students a little, you can create categories to help them along. This activity will also be a confidence booster for students. Allowing them to come up with relevant questions demonstrates your trust in their critical thinking skills.
Now that we've all worked hard on creating our questions, let's take 1 minute to get into our groups and share.
What are some of the inventions that helped move the Industrial Revolution forward?
Your students will take turns asking their questions and writing down the group's answers. If some of the students in the same group come up with the same question, have them strike it from their list to avoid repeats. Be intentional about putting students into groups. Avoid grouping students who distract one another to keep the activity running smoothly. Take the opportunity to walk around and monitor your students during their discussions. This way, you can assess the direction of the questions and answers during the activity.
Okay, time's up, everyone. Let's all travel back to our desks and share some of our questions with the whole class.
When your students return to their desks, it's time to share and answer the questions that generated the most conversation. You can organize this discussion by the categories you established before the activity.
Who's ready to share an interesting question about the main idea of the chapter we just read on the Industrial Revolution?
Okay, the first question we have as a group is, how did the Industrial Revolution lead to people feeling less connected to one another?
Great question, team. Who has a response?
Use your students' collaborative questions as a formative assessment. This is a great time to see what concepts your students grasp and which ones they are struggling with. The best questions may even have a place in your summative assessment. Not only will this be useful for you, but it will build trust by showing your students that you truly value their ideas and input. Asking questions about a topic is always a great technique for deepening student understanding. Turning this activity into a group effort makes it that much more effective. Collaborative questions does this by helping your students improve their critical thinking while also building rapport with one another. Use this strategy and there's no question that your students will form stronger connections to your content.
In recent years, educational trends are leaning more towards collaboration and away from traditional methods like lecture or self-study. Why is that? Simply put, students learn well from one another, and collaborative grouping helps them grow academically and socially. Consider these advantages of student collaboration as you plan activities for upcoming lessons. Student collaboration can help teachers differentiate instruction. Whether students are grouped by interest or by skills, working together on a project or assignment will benefit students through differentiation. Teachers can circulate and meet individually with each collaborative group to help students understand their roles and responsibilities and to clarify any misunderstandings. Another academic benefit of collaboration is the opportunity for students to explain a concept differently than the teacher. Sometimes, this provides an alternative approach that makes more sense to the student. On a metacognitive level, talking with one or more partners about what they're learning helps all students process and think on a deeper level about their own understanding. Coincidentally, collaboration can also increase student engagement. Each classmate brings their own background knowledge and skills to the group. That variety creates interest. Assigning students specific roles or jobs can also make them feel more confident and less self-conscious, since each role is unique. And that leads to an entirely different type of benefit of collaboration: social and emotional growth. When students are working together and learning from one another, they develop their self-awareness and self-management skills in a way that doesn't occur as often in teacher-centered instruction. Student collaboration is more than a teacher time saver. When thoughtfully planned by the teacher, collaborative grouping is a powerful best practice that helps students grow together, both academically and socially.
Okay, David, I think I found the other backup lighting switch.
Excellent. If we flip them at the same time, we should be able to restore auxiliary illumination.
Let's try the count of 3.
1, 2, 3. That's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, it looks like the door's still not operating though, so we're probably going to be here a while. I hope the rest of the crew's doing okay.
Someone got the backup lights working.
That's great. Hey, I wonder, computer? Hello, computer?
I don't think she has power. We're gonna have to figure this out on our own.
Any ideas how we can help from here in the holographic simulated classroom?
Well, most of the major systems like communications are located in mission control.
Mission control is right above us. I wonder if we could somehow send them a message. This room has soundproofing, but perhaps a steady percussive noise in Morse code could somehow travel through the ventilation system.
That's a great idea. There's one sound that I know Johnny would recognize.
What's that?
It's a din-din dico. I'd recognize that sound anywhere.
Well, good to know somebody's having fun, even if the power's out.
It's a weird rhythm, though.
You know, it kinda sounds like Morse code. Kinda.
It is. Push the red button twice and turn the knob counterclockwise.
Hello? Hello? Can anybody hear me?
Hey, Kyle, we read you loud and clear.
As a teacher, you're passionate about your content. You enthusiastically deliver direct instruction, eager to share your knowledge with your class. But remember, students can easily lose focus or tune out completely during long lectures, which do little to keep them engaged or hold them accountable. A great way to get students actively involved in their learning is to utilize collaborative group activities like Speak by Number. Here's how it works. First, develop a list of questions related to your lesson objective. This not only helps you stay organized once the activity starts, but it will keep your students on track and focused. Next, divide students into groups. Thoughtful pre-planning will help minimize off-task behavior. If 2 students are friends, or if they don't get along, pairing them up could lead to distraction. There, that's better. Now assign each student in the group a number. Then give your students a question to discuss within their groups. Sharing their ideas in this setting allows students to learn from one another. Together, they can develop a more refined answer, and as an added plus, their interaction will make the content more memorable. Of course, you'll want to set a timer for each question. They'll need a little more time than that. Good job! You'll want to monitor the groups closely to ensure everyone is participating. As always, be sure to remind students of procedures and use your consequences if needed. There you go! When time is up, call out a number. The student in each group with that number will stand up and take turns sharing their answer. Encourage students to build off one another's responses by displaying sentence starters with examples like, I agree with, or we had a different conclusion. Students are more likely to stay engaged knowing they will present to their classmates, and they will have to pay close attention throughout the activity since they don't know when their number will be called. But don't worry if you run out of time. Simply take note of who didn't get a turn and be sure to start with those students next time. Once your class is comfortable with this format, adapt the speak by number strategy so students can teach each other. Why? Research shows that when a student has to teach a subject, they study it more closely and retain it more readily. Divide a unit into sections and assign one to each number in the group. Students can then take turns speaking and listening to their peers. Practicing speaking skills and breaking out of the usual classroom routine makes learning more interesting for everyone, including you.
Small groups provide a setting for more individualized instruction than what happens during whole class teaching. However, gone are the days of a student working with the same group of classmates all school year. Research has shown that small groups are most effective when teachers plan with intention and focus on the elements of purpose, flexibility, and choice. So let's discuss 3 different factors that will help you determine how to group students. First, consider your purpose for collaborative groups. There are several reasons to arrange students. Students may motivate each other through sharing their common fascinations in an interest group. Ability grouping is a common type where students of a similar ability level are placed together based on assessment data, such as guided reading groups. Finally, skills grouping is used when select students all need practice with a specific skill, such as capitalizing proper nouns or regrouping tens and ones in addition. Whatever your reason for placing students in groups, flexibility is important. Students change and grow every day, and your group should reflect that. You may find that some students develop rapidly and others at a much slower pace. Be sure to base your grouping choices on information gathered from assessments so that each student is in a setting where instruction is targeted to their strengths and needs. Finally, consider incorporating some student choice in your groups. Occasionally, you may allow students to select their own partners, or you can group them randomly. This change of routine can pique interest and engagement. For example, each student could choose a playing card, and those who have the same number can work together. Remember, the ultimate goal of collaboration is to help every student improve. If you notice that one or more students in a group is struggling, it is essential that you determine why and make a change. When you create student groups with purpose, flexibility, and choice, you set the stage for academic growth while maintaining engagement in your lessons.
Students of all age levels across different content areas benefit from peer collaboration. Working together to solve problems helps them to build skills, increases their engagement, and creates memorable learning experiences. So we encourage you to take the time to create groups with intention and provide them with meaningful, curriculum-focused activities. This month on Launch Your Classroom, we're going to continue to examine student collaborative activities. We're going to demonstrate a way students can work together on an outline to increase their writing skills. We'll sit down with an expert educator to discuss questions teachers have about student collaborative activities. Then, at the end of the month, we're going to take a look at a very useful group self-assessment tool. So be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel to get our upcoming content. And check out launchyourclassroom.com for all your professional development needs. Thank you, and we'll see you next time on Launch Your Classroom.
Good to hear your voice, Kyle.
Likewise, you guys did a great job getting communications back online.
We can't take all the credit. Someone signaled us from below through the ventilation system.
Glad it worked.
Hey, Heather. Thanks for the help. Where are you?
I'm in the holographic simulated classroom with Rachel.
That's perfect. The first place the computer was installed was in that room. So if we can get her operational, she should be able to restore the station to full functionality.
I know computers reboot sequence command, but right now she has 0 power.
I believe that there's enough energy left for one single surge, but it'll need guidance.
Ryan and I can control the electrical flow from up here.
Well, it sounds like everyone knows what to do. You ready?
Ready.
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 Computer, reboot sequence Epsilon Iota 4473.
Thank you, Rachel. Detecting several systems offline. Attempting restoration. The OIC space station is now operating within normal parameters.
Great teamwork, everyone.
I think the catbird is going to need a little more tweaking before it's ready.
Take your time. This whole experience working with you and different groups has given me a lot of ideas about collaborative activities.